We all know that feeling of when we're making a decision that we're likely going to end up regretting in the future, and I think we can all rally behind the fact that it's best to avoid that whenever possible. Today I'm going to talk to you about a decision you might be making right now in Pokemon cards that is best to be avoided exactly as described. I'm going to talk about this topic from both the perspective of a reselling business and through the lens of a collector, because I understand the psychology behind that all too well. So stick around. Before I dive into this, whoa, we just passed 600 subscribers. It was just 10 days ago that we hit the 500 subscriber milestone. So shout out to you guys. Be sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel. It means a lot. So right now we are in peak liquidity. Right now is the time where items are selling the fastest. There is the most consumer interest right now than there has been in a very, very long time, potentially ever. And so it is best if we utilize these opportunities because they will not, in fact, last forever. I'm noticing a little bit of alfalfa static going on with my hair. Sorry about that. Regardless, right now items are moving so quickly, it's like hard to keep up with them in some situations. And some specific examples I'll give is like Moonbreon is always liquid. You know, these popular high demand cards, 151 Charizard is another one that just kind of tends to move pretty routinely and in a predictable manner in terms of like sales velocity or like turnover rate. But there are other cards right now that are also selling at a relatively high turnover that will not sell in the same way whenever we start to see like demand fall off. So if you're a reseller right now, you probably have a stack of cards that you know you need to get around to listing, but you really don't want to. You look at it, pretend it's not there, move on, take some photos of higher end items to list those, and you just kind of like leave your workspace without putting too much thought into that giant pile of doom. However, that pile is always there, and it's going to continue to be there and continue to grow until you confront it. And that, my friends, is called a death pile. It is the giant chunk of crap that you are refusing to list on your eBay store because you think your time is better spent elsewhere, and then you just end up doom scrolling TikTok all afternoon. So I'm going to propose to you that right now is the exact time that you need to start taking action on that. Right now, you should be a listing machine, not tomorrow, not yesterday, right now, today. If you have time to watch this video, watch it until completion, and then start confronting your death pile. You should be taking front and back photos like an absolute robot right now. Photo, flip, photo, sleeve, next card. Photo, flip, photo, sleeve, next card. In and out as fast as possible. And if you're working with a bunch of items that are like, for me, a big threshold is like $2. Like, I'm sometimes hard pressed to list cards for under $2 because number one, it's like that's probably just junk anyways. Number two, those are definitely the items that typically don't sell that fast on a space like eBay. So in that situation, if it's like a card that's selling for 99 cents on eBay or something like that, and you're gonna have to charge shipping, then you might just put a bunch of those into a lot and just literally auction them or try to find a local buyer. I've had luck with that on places like Facebook Marketplace, for example. But you need to get out of that crap as quickly as possible because that's the type of item that you are going to be sitting on for literally years, whether you list them or not once liquidity dries up. And what I'm talking about here are like regular Vs of like B tier Pokemon, like, you know, Bless Aggron. He's kind of cool. I played with that Pokemon on my first playthrough of Ruby version. He's neat. But like that's not the type of Pokemon that's going to be selling like a flat V for like $2 forever. So you want to get out of items like that right now. List them, just bite the bullet, spend an afternoon listing trading cards while you're, you know, wake up an hour early, guys. Come on, what are you doing? Don't stay up all night playing Call of Duty and then you have to hit the snooze button 5 times. Just wake up a little bit early, knock out some listing photos, and kill that death pile. Feel like you are prepared and on top of your business. That's what you get when you kill the death pile. I successfully did that in the summertime because I thought that liquidity was at like an all-time high then. So I was listing really cheap cards like an absolute psychopath for the entire summer. I found some local buyers for big lots of like Vs and VMAXs. I listed like GX cards myself on my eBay store, even some like Sun and Moon hollows and reverse hollows. And they ended up selling, and pretty quickly actually, so my prediction was correct in that like they would sell. But as soon as I got done killing that death pile, I felt a literal weight off my shoulders, and I had more money than I expected in my bank account after getting rid of all that. Just in terms of like Sun and Moon and X and Y era holos in like played condition, and then regular base ultra rare cards, including Vs, GXs, old EXs and stuff like that. And I'm not talking like your heavy hitters Umbreon. I'm talking like Volcanion, okay? Junk. Stuff that people don't actually care about that much, but they're into it right now because there's just a lot of fervor in the market. Get rid of that stuff. You're going to feel better, and then also you're going to have a fatter chunk of cash in your bank account that you can put into a better item. An example given. I recently sold an Umbreon VMAX. I talked about it in my last video, and I did grade that in a sequential set with the regular V alt art, but my death pile this year, I calculated it, and I sold all of that junk for about $1,500. You know what I did with that $1,500? I bought that Moonbreon that I graded at PSA in a sequential set and offloaded at like a $1,100 premium to the market. So I just traded my death pile for an extra $4,000. And the $1,100 is not the extra money. That's like the premium that I realized relative to, both of those cards individually being sold in PSA 10. And if you want more information about that, be sure to watch yesterday's video because I covered it in more detail. But I traded my death pile for like $4,000 after eBay fees, shipping, etc. That is a great proposition. I turned a bunch of junk into a Moonbreon, and you can be doing that too. Now, from a collector's perspective, here's how you can utilize today's current liquidity in the most advantageous way possible. Something that's difficult to do is looking through your collection and being candid with yourself about what you actually like. Yes, I said that. What you actually like. There are cards right now that you think are cool and you kind of like owning them and they're a good like placeholder or whatever, but you're not actually in love with that card. And you know the ones I'm talking about. There's probably one that just popped into your brain right now. Well, think about this. I'm not saying that you're going to be able to flip that card for a profit if you bought it last week, but a thing to consider is you can get rid of that card faster right now than you will probably be able to in, I'm just going to spitball a random time, let's say a year and a half. Let's say the market starts cooling down and a year and a half from now, we're in like a point of stagnation. Could happen, right? Well, that card that you're thinking about is going to be somebody else's add to watch list, and they just kind of let it sit in their watch list and rot forever, right? That's going to happen unless you sell it now. And just think about this. Even though you're not making money off the item, you're getting the money back as quickly as possible, and you're basically just paying a tax of, I got to own this card one time. That's what your seller fees are. You're paying the tax of getting to own that card in the short term. But if there's a card that you know that you really, really, really want and has a higher chance of being in your collection for a longer amount of time, you can get rid of that kind of like it card and buy the really like it card right now using the funds. There's some other ways that you can game the system. Like you can sell the kind of like it card right now and then just continue saving up for the card you really like, and that'll get you there quicker too. And so just be thinking about that. Like, I know that no collector out there enjoys sitting through and thumbing through their collection, thinking about what they want to get rid of. It can be a hard pill to swallow sometimes, but I'm telling you right now is not a bad time to do something like that, because your goal should be building a collection you're not going to hate to look at in 5 years. That's pretty much the metric that you ought to be using, or something along those lines, while building a collection. If you're just building stuff because you saw your favorite YouTuber talk about it on a video recently, you're making a mistake, and you're not going to actually love those cards. You're just owning them because somebody talked about them and it looks shiny. So if you have items like that, or it's just like, this card's in the grade I want, but I see that there's like an indentation or some whitening, it's not actually in the condition that you're happy owning, I'm telling you now, just bite the bullet, get rid of that card, and save up the difference to buy something you actually want, or use that money to pay off like consumer debt that you have currently or something like that. I don't know. I'm not going to tell you how to live your life, but those are my suggestions. Right now, we are in peak liquidity for whatever this market cycle ends up being. But Drew, 2 weeks has gone by since this video, and the Pokemon market's booming even harder. Okay, well, hear me out. Do you regret selling an item that you didn't like? I don't think you're gonna. personally. That's my take. I have never once regretted selling an item that I didn't like. And I suspect that you're going to fall into a similar camp. So whether you're a reseller or a collector, confront the things that you know you ought to be getting rid of and just make it happen now. Don't count on more motivation tomorrow. Don't count on more motivation yesterday. You need to be a machine right now while liquidity is at an all-time high. And I know you can do it. Thank you all for watching. Again, I appreciate the support you guys are showing, and it's really helping grow this channel at a rate that I did not expect. So I'll keep posting if you keep watching. Thank you all, and I will see you on the next video.